Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon what part of the world you're joining us from, or if you're watching live or you're watching the replay. I'm so thrilled that you've made the decision to join me today. And we're going to have an amazing day. I'm going to be sharing with you the best ideas that I've learned about a distinction called being. I wasn't even aware that it was a distinction 3.5 years ago. And I've been extensively studying this one idea for the last 3.5 years, and it's created incredible breakthroughs for me. And it will continue to create incredible breakthroughs predictably in the future. And being is something that I've decided that I'm choosing to work on for the rest of my life. This one idea that we're going to spend a whole day on today, I'm going to be continuing to work on this idea for the rest of my life. And I learned being as a distinction. We're all of us are always being all the time. So you don't need anybody to teach you how to be. You already are doing that all the time. But I had never considered being as a distinction. And I learned being from Steve Hardison, among others. And we're going to talk throughout the day about Steve and some of the things I've learned from him. I'm going to be passing along these incredible distinctions that I've learned from him, either by being coached by him or studying him. And one of the things he talks about is it's a mountain without a top. And so there's no destination to get to. It's just something you can get better at, and you can get better at, and you can get better at for the rest of your life, as long as you continue to work at it. The idea of mastery is there is no destination. So we never arrive if you're on the pursuit of mastery. We're always the student. So although today I have my leader hat on, my trainer hat, I will be forever the student of being. So we're going to have an amazing, amazing day today. Language creates. You can change your reality by changing your language. Speak as if what you are saying is the truth. Speak into existence what it is that you want. So many years ago, I declared, and we're going to talk later about the distinction between a declaration and an affirmation. And that one distinction of a declaration versus an affirmation can change the trajectory of your future. It's pretty wild. One thought can change the results that you're bringing into reality. So one of the things that a lot of us are interested in is money, right? Having enough money for financial security, having money in the bank, having money for a rainy day, having money maybe for investing, having money to do the things that are important to us and to be able to help the causes we believe in and help out our family and have a nice life for ourselves. And so you're creating your reality around money through your language. So I used to declare, I am not an investor. And so if I'm not an investor, then what am I going to do? I'm going to not invest, or occasionally I would invest. And then often I would just take the investment if it went up a little bit or a lot, and then I would sell it. And then I'd spend the money. And this was a pattern. Why? Because I was I'm not an investor. And one day I took a look at that. I was in my 40s at the time, and I thought, what if I continue to be, I'm not an investor? And I didn't have the distinction of being, but I did have the ability to anticipate, if I continue with this pattern, where am I going to be in my 70s? And I was like, I'm going to be broke. Well, I don't want to be broke. Eric, maybe you should just start being an investor. So I removed the word not. And guess what happened to my net worth? It started going up. I changed a word. I changed a single word. And as a result of changing a single word, my reality changed. Huh, could that work for you? Like, let's say you're single and you want to have your happily ever after. You want to have a romantic partner for your life. I mean, that's a very common thing that we want as human beings. And what if you're being all the good men are taken, or all the good women are taken? Or what if you're being my last three relationships didn't work? I guess it's not meant to be. As Tony Robbins teaches, the past does not equal the future. But if you're not aware of the distinction of being, so if you're being that I wasn't successful in my relationships in the past, therefore I won't be successful in the future, you're creating your reality as an idea. I'm not telling you this is the way it is. I'm not saying this is a fact. I'm just sharing with you what I've learned from my experience, and I've found it to be helpful to me. When I wanted to recreate my family after I got divorced and I wanted to get remarried, what I created in my mind, this is before I ever heard about being as a distinction, what I created in my mind was, it only takes one, and she's out there. I was being, it only takes one, and she's out there. And then eventually I met my wife out of who I was being. So we're going to explore this, and I'm going to give you plenty of time today to take a look at who you're being in various areas of your life. Like, who are you being in your health? Who are you being in your business? Who are you being in your relationships? Who are you being with the past? Who are you being with somebody that you've written off in your life? Have you ever had somebody you were really close to and you wrote them off? Like, oh, I don't, we are who we associate with. They're not in my life anymore. I'm going to tell you a story about, it was a husband and a wife that I wrote off a little bit later on in our meeting today. And after I learned about being from Steve Hardison, I shifted. And I chose to be loving with this couple that I had written off. And miracles started to occur. It's like, what? This is wild. I thought I was never going to talk to these people ever again. And I'll share with you the miracles that occurred, and you'll just be like, wow, Eric, what a story. And I still am, it's hard to even believe what the story is that it occurred. But how did that happen? It was a shift in being. And I think what happens for us as human beings is we look at something a certain way and we just lock in and go, that's the way it needs to be. So if you're taking notes, you can jot this in your notes. It's called the 87 rule. And the 87 rule states there's 87 different ways to look at something. So if you're looking at your relationship with your father, for example, who may be alive or not alive, and you look at it in a certain way and you go, that's the way it is. I would say that's one of 87 ways that you could look at it. And if you have a wonderful relationship with your father, then that's great. And if you have a challenging relationship with your father, maybe there's a different way of looking at it that will unlock something for you. I'll share with you a story a little bit later on about how I unlocked something in my relationship with my ex-wife. And I looked at it a certain way, and I'm like, this is the way it is. And then after many years, I stepped back and I go, how else could I look at this? And I discovered another way to look at it. It unlocked some things for me and for my ex-wife, to where our relationship right now, since our divorce, is the best it's ever been. So we're gonna have a wide range of being topics that we're gonna talk about today, and I'm predictably gonna share some things with you that you've never heard before. Maybe some of the things are things that you have heard, and maybe some of them are things that you've never heard. Regardless, we're gonna unlock some things for you. So to me, a way of looking at being is being implies choice. So when we make statements like, I am a certain way, we're declaring this is who I am. I'm a great starter. I'm not a great finisher. I'm I can never get myself to go to bed at 10 o'clock. I am a procrastinator. I'm stubborn. And it goes on and on and on and on and on. So essentially, what you're doing when you're making those statements, there's nothing wrong with those statements. We all make those statements. But what if you're declaring, I have a really hard time forgiving? I mean, just sit with that for a second. I declare, universe, I have a hard time forgiving. Is that something we want to declare? Do we really want to create that in language? If you really think about it, you're like, yeah, I don't think I want to create that in language. I declare I'm not good with money. People say that all the time. They don't put the I declare in front of it, but that's what they're doing. I declare I am unlovable. I declare I'm a loser. I was talking to the definition of a winner the other day. If I put him on the call right now, he could train you and he'd be brilliant and be like, wow, so-and-so is amazing. You would think he's amazing. And you would be surprised for me to tell you, he told me in a private call that he views himself as a loser. So he's showing up in the world being a loser with his kids, with his clients, with his this, with his that.